Listen, we just heard from an upset Lions fan, and I don't blame Lions fans today for being upset, alarmed. Certainly when they're no doubt hearing the Bills get their flowers. And they will understandably take it as a sign that they haven't gotten their appropriate amount of flowers. I get it. Because I think right now Lions fans are really nervous. They're nervous because they're seeing a defense give up a lot of yards. Mm-hmm. And they're seeing a defense that is a shell of itself because I don't know what it is, man. But the football gods are kicking this side of the Detroit Lions in the nards with one injury after another. We all know our guy Hutch going down. Could talk about how, hey, if they make the Super Bowl, all you want, that he could make it back. But dude had tib-fib surgery. Like, that just ain't happening. And I know last year Jets fans were like, Rodgers can come back.
He wasn't coming back.
No. And now we're hearing David Montgomery's got an MCL tear and he could be done for the year. And now you're beginning to feel like, is that win over Green Bay the high water mark to make them 12-1? They win 11 in a row. And you're thinking this is going to happen. They're going to be the 1 seed. They're going to make it. They're going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to go at least. And now you're beginning to think, will they even have the horses to do it? And then on top of it, you know, you see an offense come in and light it up. And the defense that came in dominates the line of scrimmage, which is great because the back end of the defense, 2 safeties were missing. 2 safeties were missing for the Bills. And they were still up 14-0 after 1, and the rest of the game was not going your way, and you sensed it right from the jump. And then there was a weird moment where Dan Campbell was probably seeing the defense getting eviscerated and made one of those risky plays, which is to down 10 with 11:55 to go. They just scored. You even heard Jim Nance with the call saying the Lions are back in it. And they go onside. And in this day and age, you've got to declare it. You can't have one of those surprises, which would have helped Detroit, by the way. This is kind of the first situation where you're declaring it, and it's kind of
You're like, wait,
not
what?
to your
What?
favor.
Yeah.
And they got a terrific kick where it was one of those skitters and then popped straight up in the air. But Matt Collins made an incredible play to tip it to himself and then almost take it to the house. And then the Lions score right away. 4 seconds later, it's a 3-score game again. And that's when you really sensed it wasn't going to be their day. So a risky play by Dan Campbell in the worst moment came up short.
I thought we'd get the possession, you know. I thought we were going to get that ball. And it was one of Bates' best kicks that I've seen him have. That was a big kicker at the end. You know, that thing took a good jump on us. And Hollis made a heck of a play on it. And, you know, obviously now sitting here hindsight after them taking it down to the 3-yard line, yeah, I wish I wouldn't have done that. But it is what it is.
Part of the reason why I wanted to play that soundbite is you're hearing, you know, the quote, or you're reading it, Dan Campbell saying, I wish I hadn't have done that. But you can hear in his voice that was fully sarcastic. You know, now that you see the end result, but that's the point of these risky plays, is many of us see the end result while it's happening. And if you dial it down to Spinal Tap 10 and not 11, and I'm wondering if they're going to have to dial it down because they're without Knuckles. Sonic might be by himself the rest of the season in the backfield. And the defense just keeps losing one big player after another. And after a while, the question is, how are you going to take on the Vikings at the end of the season when, guess what? That could be for the division. The Lions could go from a 12-win, 11 wins in a row, 1 seed, to at the end of the day, as they visit Chicago and San Francisco next. And, you know, those are teams that are not making the playoffs and might be backing up the U-Haul, but they're filled with prideful guys and offensive players that can score. You might need to win that Week 18 game just to have a home game in the playoffs. And so as you're seeing the injuries build up and just this one loss to the Bills and hearing how the Bills are going to be emerging as the Super Bowl favorites, not maybe Detroit. while the Vikings could join the 12-2 party with the Lions and the Eagles by the end of the night. And the Lions might wind up the 5 seed at the end because of all the injuries that are happening. I understand that Lions fans could be a little bit jumpy when they're calling this show or talking about football these days. Man, it's amazing how quickly things can turn around. But they are also a team that has been, up to this point, pretty damn stout on defense, despite all those missed players. But they've allowed 30 or more points in each of their last 2 games after allowing 0 such games in their first 12. Perhaps they can steady themselves with these injuries, win against lesser opponents in Chicago and in San Francisco, and show up against the Vikings and defend their home field and wind up being the first overall seed, getting that bye week that clearly all these injuries need, and then they come back healthy, and then everybody's going crazy. The roar is restored, even just for this season, and off they go. That's entirely possible, but I can see otherwise why Lions fans today could be a bit jumpy and panicky. I get it. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.